And I'm live. Why is it so dark? It's really weird. Hi, everybody, all three of you. Good to have you in the room. I decided I wanted to do a video about rock improvisation because it's a little less niche than fucking jazz nonsense that I get so excited about. But in the last couple of days, I've been learning a bunch of solos from various rock tunes, sort of classic rock and more like heavy metal stuff. I mean, I did some Led Zeppelin, some Dire Straits, some John Petrucci, things like that. And I got a bunch of ideas from those things, and I wanted to kind of share those, talk about how they all kind of work. Hi there, Heather. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about things probably in relation to the song "Comfortably Numb" by Pink Floyd, because it's a good vehicle, I think, for rock improvisation, because you can do quite a lot of stuff with it. It's got some movement, it's got some chord movement, as well as which it kind of leaves it open to outlining of chords and harmony and things like that. But also you can really just use a pentatonic scale as well. So I'll talk about a couple of different pentatonic ideas, which pentatonic scales to use, some arpeggios, and then some scales and stuff that you can use over the whole thing. So to begin with, let me just talk about the chord progression itself. You're the worst. So it's in B minor, the song. If you haven't heard Comfortably Numb, I don't know why you wouldn't have. Go and listen to the friggin' song because it's fantastic. It's got like David Gilmour. It's off. Okay, Comfortably Numb, From the Wall. I believe it's on the second disc of The Wall by Pink Floyd. The guitar solo, it's got two guitar solos. One of them at the beginning is more like a kind of a lighter one because it's kind of in D. So it's like D and A major and all that sort of nonsense. And it's a little shorter, and it's kind of cute. And then later at the end of the song kind of goes back into this B minor harmony, and David Gilmour kind of lets rip, which is great. It's one of my favorite solos in a song, along with like Hotel California, Stairway to Heaven. One of those iconic guitar solos that you kind of have. Anyway, so the chord changes go B minor. It all just kind of goes down scalarly. A major, and then G, and then kind of this like D over F sharp, E minor thing, and then back to B minor again. So it does that forever. B minor, A, G, E minor, back to B minor. Yeah, cool. So that's the chord progression, and so like I say, that leaves you open to some kind of outlining of harmony. So if you really know those chords really well, you can start to do that. But to begin with, let's talk about just using pentatonic scale. So the first choice for a pentatonic scale that we'd use over that is, in fact, a B minor pentatonic scale. So those of you who don't know what a pentatonic scale is, it's all in the name, pentatonic, penta meaning 5, tonic meaning tonic or note or thing. So it's a 5-note scale rather than a normal major or minor scale, which have 7 notes. It sort of cuts out 2 of those and makes a pentatonic scale. So on the guitar, it falls really well under your hands. So it's kind of one of those things that when you're first learning to improvise as a guitarist, you kind of learn. That was one of the first things I ever learned. Was my guitar teacher taught me my guitar torture. My my guitar teacher taught me pentatonic scale, and we would improvise the blues, right? So pentatonic scale starts on. We're going to do, like I say, B minor, and it starts on the 7th fret of the 6th string, and you kind of go. If I did it with like fingers, it'd be 1 4 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 4 1 4. That would be a B minor pentatonic scale. And so the notes in that though are B, D, E, F sharp, A, and then back to B again. So that's the 5 of them. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. 1. So those are the notes that you would use. Now there's a lot of things you can kind of do with that scale, and because of the way that it kind of sits on the guitar, like I say, it sits really nicely, and there's a lot of kind of cool things you can do with it. One of the first things I'll kind of do is bending. If you listen to David Gilmour's solo, and if you listen to what was the other one that I was listening to? There's a couple of other David Gilmour. What was the other solo I was listening to? It was really good. Doesn't matter. If you listen to his stuff, it sounds flashy, but it's really not. I mean, in the sense that it works really well harmonically, but like he's not playing a lot of stuff. That's right. I was listening to Time, which is another song off Dark Side of the Moon, and he doesn't play a lot of fast stuff. He doesn't he doesn't he doesn't play fast. He doesn't play lots of notes. He doesn't play a lot of it is just really well placed bends and nice notes a lot of the time. So he'll do things like this. So it's all within that pentatonic scale, but bending up to notes. And like, even if you don't know what the notes are, listening to how that sounds with each of the chords, right, is something that can be a good start. So putting on a backing track and bending the notes, bending each of those notes and seeing where they kind of start to sound good with what the harmony is. You can hear that note's going to sound nice. This one, it's going to take a bit to get to bend that note to a place that's going to sound nice, but it kind of works. This one here. So what you're doing is, okay, let me explain real quick. So what you're doing when you're bending the string, right, is you're increasing you're shifting the pitch of the note. It's the same as if you were to slide across the string. You're changing the pitch up, and so when you bend the string up, it raises the pitch of the note, and so you're kind of sliding into a place where you want it to be. And if you do it really slow, yeah, you can hear it. There it is there. That's the note that you want to be to. And there's a lot of things you can do with the bend. You can start here, bend up. You can start pre-bended and bend down. You can hit the note and bend up. You can start with the note bent, and then bend back down again. You can bend up and then let it come down again. You can what's another one? Yeah, you can do that. So you could start bended, go down, and then come back up again. And you can kind of change the pitch as you're there. There was one particular note in Time where he would bend up to like 3 frets up. So he bent from here to here, and then back down to the note slightly below that. So like a that kind of thing, So you've got a lot of leeway, and that's the thing when you're bending that note. You've got a lot of kind of room for different stuff just within that whole thing. You've got all this whole range. So really play with that if you're working on that bending stuff. Okay, so that's one thing you can do with that pentatonic scale. Sliding is another thing. So sliding from one note to the next. So because the scale fits so nicely under your fingers on guitar, you can slide from one note to the other. And And then if you learn the next position of that, you can slide up to the notes in that position. There's all that kind of room for that, and then you can combine those two, right? So that's combining like bends and slides, and then there was another thing in there that I put in, which was the hammer-ons. So you got hammer-ons, which is when you play one note and then you hammer on to the next note, and then the opposite of that would be the pull off. So you've got hammer on and then pull off, hammer on, pull off. And so again, you can combine those in multiple different ways. You could hammer on and then pull off, hammer on, just hammer on slide, pull off slide, hammer on bend, pre-bend, go down and then pull off, slide. So you can combine all these different techniques in a bunch of different ways to create a whole bunch of interesting sounds, rather than just so rather than just playing no, that's fine, but these really open up a bunch of different avenues for you to express your kind of sound, or the thing that you're trying to get across, right? Often I'll vocalize what I'm trying to do, so like I'll sing. I used to have, you can kind of still even see that piece of tape there. When I was at university, my guitar tutor got a piece of paper and wrote "sing" on it, and then taped it to the top of the guitar so that it would remind me to sing the stuff that I was playing each time. So for example, because really kind of what you're sort of doing when you're improvising, this is getting very heady, and this is sort of stuff that I think about when I'm improvising jazz or whatnot, but I think in all improvisation, what you're really doing is you're taking the voice which is in your head, crazy, but the music that's inside your head, and translating it onto your instrument to come out. So you're composing on the go, but that comes from all your experiences with music and all that sort of stuff that has made the music inside your head. I know this sounds all heady and weird and new agey, but that's kind of what it is you've got a sound inside your head about what you want to come out, and you're playing it on the guitar or on the piano or with your voice or whatever, and vocalizing that can help to get the right thing on the guitar. Okay, so that's what you got there. You got your bends, and vibrato as well. That's another thing. So vibrato was kind of like a it takes a note which is just a straight note like that and just kind of wobbles it a little bit. So it's kind of a bend. It's like a fast bendy kind of thing. So I'm making the note kind of do this rather than just be a straight note. It's a little, so the note kind of wobbles around, which is it's a personalizing thing. You can put a huge amount of vibrato. You can do it slowly. We can do it quickly. So it can be like it can be a lot of vibrato. It can be a lot of vibrato and fast. It can be a lot of vibrato and slow. It can be a little vibrato and fast. It can be a little vibrato and slow. Or there's in-betweens of that. So there's all those kinds of options. Okay, so that's your bends, your slides, your hammer-ons, your vibratos, and you can have all sorts of combinations of those. All sort of combinations of that just inside that pentatonic scale. So those are good things to work on. Now, patterns are also a good thing to do that can kind of break up the monotony of just a single scale, right? So, I mean, it's all well and good to just run the pentatonic scale, but if you if you introduce some patterns to the scale, it can make some kind of nice sound. So what I mean by patterns is rather than just playing up and down, you play a pattern and then you repeat that pattern, and you repeat that pattern again. So the pattern, like one of the very first patterns I would learn is like a 4-note pattern. So you can talk about the pattern in the sense of like how many notes there are and what type of rhythms you're using. So I'd say a 4-note pattern in semiquavers. So to be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you go to the next note. So you start from the root and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you go to the next note up and go 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go to the next note and go 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 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 you're back to the root again, and you can repeat all the way through. So it sounds like this, right? So that's that going that way, and then so that's ascending, and then you can do it descending. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You get the idea. So that would be that's like a basic 4-note pattern. Now you can do that, and then you can kind of switch out the numbers. Basically, it's a way that you can kind of do it. You can say, okay, I'm going to do a 4-note pattern, but I'm going to do it in triplets. So instead of it being da 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 da, it's da da. Sorry. Sorry. Da, da, da. That's it. Sorry, my brain's not working. And so it creates this what they call a hemiola, music theory words, where it's like it doesn't line up and it kind of falls over itself, where you've got 4 notes over the top of the space of 3, or you could have 3 notes over the space of 4. So the other way around it would be like that, right? You could have a 3-note pattern, but in semiquavers. So you've got that, right? You can have 3 notes over the space of 4, and so it creates this da do da do do da 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 do da do 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 da, and then with the triplets is da 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 do da 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 do da do da da do do ba da 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 ba da 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 ba da 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 ba da da da. That's my triplet sound. Welcome those who just joined. I'm talking about pentatonic patterns. So that would be those sorts of patterns. Now you can mix up the kind of order that you'd play the notes. So rather than just going up, oh sorry, no, let me do one more thing. So you've gone ascending, right? Ascending. Now you could play that same pattern but in reverse. Sorry. And then the same thing going descending but ascending the pattern. Didn't practice that one so much, but those are kind of things you can do. So that's what I mean. You can kind of take the pattern and then kind of screw around with it a whole bunch. There's a really good book. Now this is getting into some heavy pentatonic shit, but there's a really good book by Jerry Bergonzi, who's a jazz educator, on pentatonics, and it's full of ideas and patterns, or it's got a section on like patterns and a bunch of different patterns that you can do over pentatonics, and then ways to apply those pentatonic scales to various chord progressions. But I mean it does come with some cool patterns. Like one of them that I really liked was crap. Oh, I can't do it. I used to be able to do it. It means I need to practice more. Oh shit! I'm embarrassing myself. But you mean that's I kind of like that one. It's yeah, but he's got a whole bunch of different patterns in. There's a whole bunch of different cool ones like that. So so that can make your pentatonic stuff a little more interesting. And then you can kind of mix up those two things, right? So we're playing the song. So you can kind of mix up the two things, right? You put in your bends and your slides and stuff, and then put in some. And like again, those because they fit so well on your fingers, they're quite good for kind of fast playing. So that's something kind of cool you can do with that. What was I going to say? I was going to say something. Okay, so that would be pentatonic thing. Now, speaking of like outlining what the chords are. So when I was learning the song as a kid, I was learning Come For Me Numb with my guitar tutor, and we were talking about this, and I was improvising for him, and he, you know, so we'd go along and I'd be doing. Which is fine. Pentatonic stuff sounds good, but it doesn't really outline what the changes are. And so that was something that he suggested from that point on, was to start thinking about what the chords are and playing notes and things that kind of outlines those changes, because it just adds another layer of kind of interest and complexity into your solo, right? Okay, so the first chord is a B minor chord. So the first step would be to learn the B minor arpeggio. Learn a B minor arpeggio and what the notes are. So notes in a B minor arpeggio: B, D, F sharp. You can add in the seventh as well if you want, which is A. So B, and interestingly enough, that's most of the B minor pentatonic. So all you need to do from the B minor pentatonic is get rid of the E, and you got yourself a B minor 7 arpeggio. So that's a pentatonic that you can use. Pentatonic. That's an arpeggio that you can use there, and so that's going to be basically that's going to outline that chord. If you play that, it's going to outline the chord, and then on to the next one, which would be A. Now it's an A, and in this key, because we're kind of in the key of D, and so it's kind of an A7 sound, like an A7 mixolydian. And it kind of sounds okay. It does, but it's like it's not really leading to a D major, which would normally be what you'd do. You'd normally go from A7 to D, and that's not really what it's doing. So be cautious with your playing of an A7, but definitely an A major. I just played the 7 there. Using that A arpeggio, so an A major would be A, C sharp, and E. Now what you could do is you could put in the B, you could put in the 9. Hi Sam, welcome to the Hangout. I hope that you can learn something from this. What you can do is you can put in the B there, so either the ninth or the 2. So the 2 of something, so that you've got the 9 and the 2, right, which are technically the same note. So like an A major has B, which could be either the 2 or the 9. And the way that you kind of distinguish between the two is where it's sort of placed in the chord. Now this gets a little bit more ambiguous when you're playing as an arpeggio, but if you're playing just a straight chord, so I've got an A major like this, right? Now if I play the 2, it's going to sound like this, because the B is like right in there with a B, like A, B, C sharp, E. In fact, how could I play it with a C sharp? A, C, it's hard to play with the C and the B at the same time. C sharp, that, like that. Oh, geez. I mean, it's not a practical chord, but you get the idea. So it's got that kind of crunchy thing in the between there. And then an A9, or like an A add 9, would have the 9 up the top. So it's got that high higher B. Both kind of cool sounds. So that could be something you could play as an arpeggio instead. And that kind of comes from an F sharp minor pentatonic, which I'll talk about in a second because I was gonna play that. But yeah, so you can play, instead of it being an A dominant 7, you could play an A9 sound. And it'll sound nice over there. And again, you can put in all those bends. So hitting all those notes, and that's the thing is, I mean, all those notes are in that pentatonic scale, but it's kind of putting them in the right place. So if I do something like this, right? So let's just imagine B minor A. If I play just the pentatonic scale, I mean, yeah, that's fine. But if I do something like this, you can hear from that me kind of going, hitting those notes within the chord that kind of go, hey, now we're at the A chord, or and those when you're playing those with the actual band, like if there's a band playing or something like that, those notes are gonna gel a lot better with the backing track that's going on. And again, we're on the next chord is G. So again, you want to kind of hit those chords, those notes within the G, which are G, B, D, G, B, D, G. And in fact, you can put in major 7 there as well, which is going to sound really nice at G. So G major 7 sound. G major 7. G major 7, and the B minor pentatonic is going to outline that really nicely, because you've got B, which is the 3rd, D, which is the 5th, E, which is the 6th, F sharp, which is the 7, A, which is the 9, and then B again, which is the 3rd. So it doesn't have the root in there, but it does have all those other notes which sound really nice against. So yeah, keeping in mind each of the notes and what chord you're at, and is gonna just make your what's the word? Make your solo sound a little bit more coherent. It's like if people often liken people often use the analogy of language with music, right? If you think about the scale as or the notes that you have as like words, right? And then I need to get this analogy right in my head, but so the scale and the notes are the words that you use, and you can put them in certain orders, and they will potentially come across, put across a certain idea. But if you're kind of random about what you're saying, it's not gonna necessarily be coherent. So if I'm when a solo is happening, I can do all that sort of shit, but it's not necessarily gonna make sense or be coherent in a musical way. But if I start putting in some musical grammar, then it's going to start to make a little bit more sense, especially in the context of what's going on. Because I could say a bunch of random words, and in a certain context they might make sense, but in another context they may not. So in this context here, there are certain things that you can do that'll really make your solo sound comprehensible. He says words that don't make sense in a certain context. Anyway, so yeah, just keeping in mind these various things, keeping in mind what the harmony is, and then trying your best to be comprehensive. I think. Oh no, my battery's low. Oh geez, hold on 1 second. Plug in the thing, you bastard. There it is. I'm good. Okay, there we go. Whew. Okay, I'm back. That was scary. Okay, yeah. Do that. Do those things that I just said because they're important. Yeah, cool. And then so there's this little kind of transition as well from G, D, E minor. Now you can kind of outline that in your solo as well. If you play those kind of notes, right? You can hear that sound. From that. Like, listen again. So I'm kind of playing like a note from the G or a couple of notes from the G, and then outlining a D sound. Usually, so the notes that are gonna really make that D sound out stand out are an F sharp, definitely, because I mean, unless we're talking about G major 7, let's just think of it as triads for now. We've got G major, which is G, B, and D, and E minor, which is kind of similar to G, E, B, and what are we talking about? E, G, and B, sorry. So those kind of have the same notes in them. And then the note that really stands out, or the couple of notes that really stand out, are the F sharp and the A, a little bit less. But like if you play a note from G, so like G, and then a note from the D, which is different from those, F sharp, E, both comprehensive and Hey, yeah, I did a good word. Comprehensible, bitches. So you could do that, and you can hear that. You can hear that. Works. You could go the other way. G, G, A, B. Again, you can hear that. So that's a good start. You could put the arpeggios underneath that. Sorry. You can hear that again. That. You can so doing all that kind of stuff. That's putting the arpeggios under there. You could just play one note in one and play an arpeggio on the next, and then another note. So like that again. You can play an arpeggio on the G, and then just a note on the D, and then again arpeggio on the E. So there's all these kind of options. So I'm trying to give you a bunch of different pieces of grammar, musical grammar. So pieces of musical grammar we've got our bends, we've got our slides, we've got our hammer-ons, we've got our vibrato. This is all bits of grammar / words, kind of words, kind of grammar. Arpeggios, pentatonic scales, patterns on pentatonic scales, things like that. All those kinds of things. You've got all these little tiny pieces of the musical language that you can then put together in a comprehensible way. Analogies, they work good. Let me think. Where am I at now? Okay, so let me talk a little something about like making some interesting colors. So when we talk about color in music, it's color and like brightness and darkness. Okay, so there's certain notes and certain sounds which are brighter than others, and which are darker than others. And color, in the sense of harmony, is I don't want to say bland. I want to say like how's this work? You've got notes which just fit, and then you've got other notes which create color or flavor or spice. I had someone explain it to me once in the sense of like a spicy food, and in the sense that it takes some getting used to, dipping your fingers and your tongue into various dipping your tongue into various different things. Like you're not gonna be a spicy food person straight away, but if you slowly start adjusting your tastes to things, the older you get as well, you can get a little bit more accustomed to these tastes. So things that you spicy foods and things that you didn't like before, after kind of go away. Phone call. Wait. There you go. So yeah, your tastes will kind of adjust, and so you can have these different types, and there's all this different nuance and all this sort of stuff between different spicy foods and all this sort of stuff that you can add to a dish to kind of create different color or spice or flavor or things like that. So in the context of music, we have a B minor chord, which has a B, a D, and an F sharp. And that sounds nice. You can play any one of those notes and they're going to sound perfectly fine. And that's your nice chicken with honey soy on it. This is a honey soy chicken. Any one of those notes are going to sound really nice, and they taste good because it's nice, and that's fine. But now, hey Jamie, can we start over? Let me see if I can rewind 40 minutes of my time. Actually, I have a, hold on. I have a, god damn it, no. Go away, stop it, stop, no. I have this like reverse looper thingy, so hold on. No, it's supposed to do a thing, come on. Do it better than that. No, I want you there. Yeah. No, it's not doing it. I have a delay and it has a reverse thing on it. There was going to be this whole joke and stuff. Anyway, okay, so let's add some spices to our honey soy chicken. Let's put in a little bit of chili or something, like a little bit of chili powder. Maybe chop up some fresh chilies and cook it in there with the garlic and the onion. And we can put our minor 7 on top of that chord. So instead of it just being, it's going to be this. It's going to be that sound. So it's got a little bit. It's a little darker as well. It's not as. I mean, the minor chord's kind of dark itself, but you add in that a little bit mysterious, so that when you're playing your solo, playing that note is going to add in that little bit of, and when I say playing that note, because obviously you're going to play it in the pentatonic, but like landing on it and purposefully like shoving it down the audience's throat. Well, not, here, take this chili, eat it. No, but like, putting it there and committing to it and having it be that sound is gonna be kind of nice. So like. Putting it in there. In those places. Sorry, Heather. You know, that's the first little bit of the audience's taste of how spicy things are going to get. Now, the next little piece of spiciness we're going to put in there is going to be a C sharp. C sharp is the 9 of the B minor. It's going to be this sound. That kind of sound. Go away! Oh, for fuck's sake. Who's this? Unavailable. I don't answer the phone to friggin' numbers. I don't know who they are. Go away. Hate it. No, if you don't want to leave a message, I'm not going to know who you are, and I'm not going to answer the damn phone. Okay, so that would be the next little bit of spice, right? So that's a really nice. Ooh, yeah, we've got a landline. It's crazy, right? Oh man, hello 1995. So that's your next little bit of spiciness to add on to your B minor chord, and it sounds really great. It's a tricky one to get, and you've really got to hear it. You know, you can't just be like, "Ha, I'm gonna be playing my C sharp," because it could sound really lame. But you know, if you get it in there, let me That was my speaker turning on. Look, I'm just gonna I'll play what I mean. I'm gonna play the Comfort Me Numb backing track, and then I'll put in a couple of different. I'll start bland and I'll get spicier. That's basically what I'm getting at. So have a listen here. Oh my god! I mean, maybe it's fucking important. Hold on, give me a second. Sorry, be right back. Who is this? Hello? It is me. Yeah. Hi. Good. How are you? Oh, yeah, you did too. No, I totally missed that. Okay. Yeah, what's up? Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'll take it for a walk. A little later. Yep. Yes. I think. It's right. It's around somewhere. Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Okay. See you then. Bye. Okay, taking bets on who that was and why they were calling. Jesus fucking Christ. It was so important. So important. It was my fucking dad calling to tell me to take the dog for a walk and put the fucking washing out. Jesus Christ. So important, Dad. Just really, really, really important stuff. Okay, let me play this fucking Pink Floyd thing. Listen, and like I say, I'll be bland, or not bland, normal, just nice and tasty, and then I'll add in some spice. Have a listen. If I just get to the right place. 4:30. Okay, here it comes. Okay, here we go. Okay, I added some spice. You hear that? Okay, so you see what I mean? Trying to get those little bits of niceness in there, and that's probably not something you want to hit right out of the gate when you're when you're playing your solo. First thing coming up being like, I mean, you could, but generally that's something you want to kind of ease into as you're playing the song. As you're playing your solo, you get a little bit more complex, a little bit more spicy, a little bit more faster, a little bit more, other things that happen in there. You can put in your big fast arpeggios and things like that as the solo goes on. To because if you're just playing honey soy chicken the whole time, it could be fine, but it can get a little boring after a while. So start adding in a little bit of that chili. Put a little bit of the chili in the pot, and it's gonna make your audience go, "Oh, hold on, what's that? Oh, hi." Yeah. So keep that in mind. What was one more thing? Oh yeah. So in the vein of adding some spice to what you're talking about, let's do two things. First of all, let's talk about what scale you'd use, just like as a normal scale sort of thing. So a B minor scale or a G major scale starting from D major. Sorry, I was in the wrong place. D major starting from B is going to be the scale that you use over this whole thing. So you can get all metally, again, apply those patterns to that scale. So you can mix up between B minor pentatonic, and B minor scale. That kind of nonsense. Okay, so again, you can apply those patterns: 1, 2, 3, 4, ascending, descending. All that sort of nonsense. So you can do with that sort of stuff with the different rhythms and things like that. It's all going to sound kind of cool, and so you can put that in there with your pentatonics and your arpeggios. Again, another piece of grammar that you can add to your little bag of stuff to do things. Very technical language, I know. The last thing I was going to talk about was using a different pentatonic scale to create a little bit more color. So using an F sharp minor pentatonic scale. You'll notice it's basically the same as B minor pentatonic, but instead of it being a D, it's a C sharp. So if you start from the F sharp, so you can start in the same kind of position. So rather than going to D there, you're going to go to C sharp. And the reason that's going to sound cool is, for one, if you started on the F sharp, if you start right from the beginning of that pentatonic, it's going to you're starting from the fifth of a B chord rather than straight from the root. And then you've got the fifth, the seventh, the root, the 9. So it adds in the 9 rather than the third, which is kind of cool. So you get that kind of sound, so the note that I was talking about, yeah, this is I'm mixing up metaphors. So yeah, if you play that pentatonic instead of the B minor pentatonic, it's gonna just automatically give you that C sharp, the 9. Hey Joel, yes, yeah, I do this all the time, my brother, just to talk about music and talk about how to play music and things like that. So welcome. Yeah, so that's kind of a cool thing. That so when you're doing your pentatonic kind of stuff, it just makes a little bit interesting extra kind of noise for you there. Some interesting noise. That's what music is. Interesting noises. Yeah. I suppose it's kind of it. That all I kind of wanted to do. So I'm just gonna play some stuff for a bit, and I hope that you enjoy it over this Comfortably Numb. Thanks for listening. Hope these are some good ideas. What I'm going to do at the end of this is I'll probably take the video and sort of chop it up nicely so that it's not fucking 50 minutes long. And it's, I take out all the and then all the nonsense of me talking to the chat and the nonsense of me talking to my dad on the fucking phone, and make it like a nice little video that people can actually watch. God damn it. Stop. I want my delay. Give me my delay. Yeah, so I'll do that. And so, if you want to watch over and actually get some of these ideas, they'll be in a slightly more digestible video. Haha, music metaphors. Anyway, this is Comfortably Numb. Enjoy. Thanks for tuning in. If you like my stuff, like and subscribe and all that good nonsense. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. The child is grown, the dream is gone. I can't speak. That was nice. Anyway, thanks for watching. Yeah, I'll do this again sometime. Rock. See you, bye.